Welcome back to the News at 10. If you just joined us, you're watching the News at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Buhari returns to Nigeria after a one-week visit to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Nigerians back to the queues at petrol stations as fuel scarcity resurfaces across the country. EFCC arraigns Abba Moro over alleged advance fee fraud. The former Minister of Interior pleads not guilty to charges as he's seen off to prison. And migrants smash open a barbed wire fence on the Macedonia-Greece border in a desperate move to reach northern Europe. Do remember all our top stories you can find on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on a mobile device and download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. We encourage you to interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, then follow the instructions.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
We do have some pictures that you sent into our Eyewitness portal, beginning with this set of images from Shagamu in Ogun State, showing people, our Eyewitness reporter says, are protesting an alleged extortion by a senior police officer there. They're calling for his removal. Next is this photo from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, showing motorists waiting to buy petrol, which our Eyewitness reporter says is now sold for 120 naira. He wants the government to take action to stop the scarcity and hike in price. Our next photo is from Okoba area of Lagos State, showing a link bridge. Our Eyewitness reporter says had been started and abandoned up to 3 times. He wants the government to help them fix it because its absence has made movement difficult for residents. The next photo comes from Ojo area here in Lagos, still showing a falling electricity pole. Our Eyewitness reporter says the pole poses great danger if it falls. He's calling on men of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria to fix it, and quickly too. Finally is this photo from Okutukutu area of Yenagoa in Bayelsa State, showing sagging electricity cables resting on the roof of a building. Our Eyewitness reporter points to danger in this and calls on relevant authorities to do something about it quickly.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Now to the judiciary and from Abuja, where the former Minister of Interior, Mr. Abba Moro, arraigned on an 11-count charge of advance fee fraud and money laundering, has pleaded not guilty. The court is also looking at allegations of breach of public procurement of the Procurement Act to tune of 676,675,000 naira. Also arraigned are former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mrs. Anastasia Nwobia, Felix Alayebami, Drexel Tech Nigeria Limited, and one Marwood Amado, who is set to be at large. They all pleaded not guilty. Our correspondent, Amaka Okafo, reports.
After over a week in the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the former Minister of Interior, Mr. Abba Moro, and the former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mrs. Anastasia Nwobia, and the Director for Procurement, Mr. Alex Alabayemi, were arraigned before Justice Angoli Chikere on an 11-count charge of advance fee fraud and other offences. The minister and his co-accused persons were alleged to have defrauded several Nigerians through a job scam to the tune of over 676 million naira. They were also accused of contracting the employment process through selective bidding contrary to the Procurement Act. All the accused persons pleaded not guilty to the charges. the court deferred the hearing in the bail application filed by the accused persons to allow the anti-graft agency the opportunity to respond to the application. The court, however, obliged the plea of Chief Chris Uche, who is the counsel to Mrs. Anastasia Nwobia, to extend the administrative bail granted to her pending the hearing and determination of their bail application.
What the court merely did, because the motions served on the prosecution needed time to respond, and the matter has been adjourned to Wednesday. Therefore, there was no need for the prosecution to oppose the same administrative bail which they had complied with and which they had offered and which the second defendant had complied with. So that's why it was extended to cover the period in between now and when the formal motion will be argued.
Counsel to the fourth accused person, one Mahmoud Amadou, and his company, Drexel Tech Nigeria Limited, who is said to be at large, have this to say of his client.
Very, very shocking and surprising to read in the charge that Mahmoud Ahmed, who was never invited by EFCC, was declared on the charge as being at large. He is not at large. He would make himself available before the court to show that he has nothing to hide and is not running from any justice. If you have not invited a man, how will he know that there is any specific allegation against him?
Justice Angli Chikere, however, demanded the former minister and the director of procurement in the ministry in prison custody until the 2nd of March 2016, when the bail application will be heard. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
Former Chief of Defense Staff Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to grant him bail from detention. Bade has been in custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission since February 8th, when he was invited by the anti-graft agency for questioning. His lawyer, Samuel Zibiri, asked the court for an order admitting him to bail on recognizance pending further investigation by the respondent and/or arraignment before the court. Zibiri described Bade's detention as gross abuse of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. And it's time now to go to Abuja, where Linda Akibe is standing by with more on the news at 10. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Amarachi, and welcome to the nation's capital. Ongoing plans to liquidate assets of the defunct power holding company of Nigeria, Pt.2, are being resisted by the company's disengaged staff amidst pending labor issues, including outstanding severance benefits of nearly 5,000 workers. Led by the chairman of the EFCC Council of Electricity Employees, Mr. Wisdom Wachiku, the protesting ex-workers are asking the federal government to put the liquidation on hold and investigate the rushed process by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. They say 10% equity and 7.5% RSA owed over 50,000 workers by the federal government, 16 months unpaid benefits and other outstanding issues must be concluded before winding down the PHCN corporate headquarters.
We have the Severance Implementation Committee who we are sitting to ensure that these people are settled. As we are talking today, since 9 months ago, that committee was not paid by the ministry nor BPE. They stopped work. And when they stopped work, since then till now, nobody has been paid a dime. About 5,000 staffs remaining to be paid severance has not been paid. What we are asking for here is that these 5,000 PSCN staff that have not been severed should be severed. It's part of the agreement. Their money should be paid to them. After that, the 16 months owned of the 55,000 PSCN staffs should be paid as well. PSCN staff and the union will resist any attempt of Gazama and the PAMSEC trying to manipulate this particular exercise without following the due process. We will resist it in anywhere, any place, anytime.
Civil society organizations in Abuja are asking the National Assembly to amend Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution to do away with the requirement for the president's assent during constitution amendments. They want the current assembly to complete the process before the next general elections.
The Severance Implementation Committee, who
at Restoring Peace in Nasarawa State, have received the backing of the leadership of the Egon Cultural Development Association to mobilize support from the pressure groups to ensure that the National Assembly does the right thing as they set out to amend the Constitution. The chairman of the forum and the former federal lawmaker, Senator Kairat Gwadabe, says the meeting will mobilize support to ensure that the Constitution amendment process is not hijacked by selfish interests.
You will be shocked at how the votings were on some issues. So how do we as CSOs and NGOs, and how do we now mobilize at states, federal at first and then states, to ensure that they do the right thing for our collective good?
Other members of the group identify Section 9 of the Constitution, which requires the President's assent on an amended Constitution, to be a major challenge. They are asking the 8th Assembly to amend that section moving forward.
If Section 9 of the Constitution is amended in such a way that it will say categorically that in amending the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the assent of Mr. President is not required. If that clause is inserted, that clause alone will save us the trouble and the wastage of resources, the money being spent, and people are complaining.
There is nothing in that constitution, the 1999 constitution, that brings in the president to play a role in terms of giving assent or not. And that, I think, is what the law is. Unfortunately, this has meant that because National Assembly has a different interpretation of this, that this has been sent to the president for assent. I do not believe that alterations to the constitution that has undergone 4/5 in some cases or 2/3 of votes in the National Assembly, and of course majority votes in the 36 states of assembly and no less than 24 states voting, that you still require the president to give his assent. I do not think so.
Both the 5th, 6th and 7th National Assemblies made several efforts to amend the 1999 Constitution, but all met with their different challenges. It is hoped that the recommendations from this meeting of civil society organizations will help the 8th Assembly succeed. Governor Tanko Al-Makura's efforts at restoring peace in Nasarawa State have received the backing of the leadership of the Egon Cultural Development Association. During a courtesy visit to the governor in Lafia, the state capital, the president of the association, Comrade James Ali, assured him of the group's total support. He commended Governor Al-Makura for his strategy to promoting unity among the diverse ethnic groups in the state.
The leadership of the Egon Cultural Development Association at the Government House in Lafia, they have come to express their unflinching support for the governor's program to restore peace in the state.
We have come up to condemn in its detailed totality the event that has been devastated in the last few years. Your Excellency, I'm happy to let you know that we are not going to go to bed with Oduwa Island until in Nasarawa State every nook and corner there is peace.
While appreciating that discussions are in progress, the ECDA president appeals to the governor to ensure the speedy resettlement of their displaced members and construction of roads linking Egon communities to the state capital.
We are just whispering to your ear, Your Excellency, that your order has not fully been carried out. And we will appreciate if they are not only bad, but it should be assisted. Because some of them, if they go back again, it is a problem to go and resettle them.
On his part, Governor Al-Makura tells his visitors that reconciliation has been foremost on his mind.
We are happy to have seen this reunion, which is a clear indication and testimony that whatever has gone in the past has become history.
He also promises to look into the requests of the group.
I remain committed to a one united national state where each and every one of us will be given his rights and privileges. It is for this reason that I will look very closely into the appeal that the actor president has done.
The governor assures the Eguan people that resettlement plans are already underway and government is set to start the distribution of relief materials to over 50 affected communities on the 3rd of March.
As part of efforts to decongest the nation's prisons, the Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Justice Ishak Bello, has announced plans to establish community service centers for minor offenders. Justice Bello, who disclosed this in Abuja at the inauguration of the Monitoring Committee on the Administration of Criminal Justice, assures court users that the committee will promote fairness and equal access to justice. The Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory, who is the chairman of the 8-member committee, advocates the need for the nation's justice system to be grounded in the rule of law.
Will be established to oversee the executive.
Lord the CJ invite Haji Mohammed Musa Bello. Some recognitions. I'm extremely busy. We want that to proceed to the business of the day.
And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Amarachi.
Thanks a lot, Linda. And when the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's forex reserves fall to $27.8 billion as falling oil prices continue to impact on the economy. That'll be in business news. Please join us again.